I got several items I'd like to report on. One of them is that I visited the IMF spring meeting last month. As you know, the IMF keeps 2 meetings a year, one in the spring and one in the winter, in which countries from all over the world attend to participate in discussions and to gather information as far as the developments economically in the world goes, and of course to have meetings with the IMF. From the meetings, you could gather that this year, as things look, the United States economy is growing somewhat. Nothing to write home about. The expectation is that they're going to have GDP growth, but that GDP growth is going to be under 3%. And as you know, as it goes with the economy in the United States, so it goes with many other countries who are dependent on the United States, including St. Martin. If the United States catches a cold, we start to sneeze, or if the United States sneezes, we catch a cold. But the indications are from a discussion that was conducted between Mnuchin as well as Marie Lagarde from the World Bank. It appears that the United States economy and GDP will grow somewhat this year. That is not the same with Europe. Europe, they expect that GDP will grow anemically because of all the challenges that Europe faces, including refugees, as well as Brexit, and everybody's in a wait-see as to how that's going to develop while Britain extracts itself from the European Union. All in all, I think, and that's my own personal opinion, that St. Martin too will grow meagerly. The expectation is that it will not go below 0% growth, but it will be somewhere between 0 and 1% growth for 2017. I met with representatives of the IMF, and they have indicated that they would like to come to St. Martin for a pre-Article 4 visit, and they'd like to come in June or July. Next year, we're going to have the full-blown Article 4 visit from the IMF that they do on a regular basis. I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, I should say, as to how well informed they are about the developments on St. Martin, and very, very keen on certain things that need to be accomplished and achieved. One of them is, of course, the agreement that we have reached that we're now implementing with the pension fund and the raising of the pensionable age to 65, which makes that fund again attractive, or at least feasible, because there was quite some concern in the past about the ability of the fund to meet its obligation if the coverage did not meet the 100% mark. And so there were other things that they shared with me that surprised me, that they were familiar and aware of these things. Besides the IMF, I also visited Beijing at the request of the developer of the Pearl of China and Caribbean project here in St. Martin. He happens to be the Secretary General of the World Eco-Agricultural Summit that is held annually in China. So he extended invitations for me to visit China on the occasion of that conference, and also to be able to talk about the Pearl of China project. So I've been there. I've got to tell you that Beijing is a wonderful city. It has inhabitants of about 20 million, so it's larger than New York. The streets are in better shape than in New York. And the trees that are planted are much more in abundance that you'll find in New York City. One major problem and setback with Beijing is that the air is polluted. You don't see blue skies. And that's a challenge for China overall, going forward, to be able to get a better quality air and a quality life, because the pollution, of course, causes illnesses and contributes to increased costs in health care. But other than that, Beijing was a wonderful city. Food is excellent. And speaking of the World Eco-Agricultural Summit, that's the whole idea behind it, is that it's becoming increasingly difficult projecting forward for the world to feed the world's population. And that is going to be a major problem unless steps are taken to ensure an adequate supply of food. World wars can be triggered because of the absence of food. And you will see that there are steps being taken by China, where they purchase land, purchase properties, also in the Caribbean as well as Africa, specifically to have arable land for agriculture, to produce food. Don't forget, China has one of the world's largest populations. It's 1.4 billion people that they have to feed. So you could see that the concern in terms of feeding population is top of mind of the Chinese government. But it should also be top of mind of everybody else, because going forward, the predictions are food is going to become more expensive. The scarcer it becomes because of global warming, the more it's going to cost. So we too need to think about projects and programs to curtail those increased costs. Of course, we don't have the land mass as many other countries have and other islands in the Caribbean. But we should think seriously about doing things such as growing our own backyard gardens, growing our own tomatoes, sweet peppers, carrots, because pretty soon the prices of these items are going to go through the roof. And if I plant, then I don't have to buy the stuff that I plant or grow. And the people, depending on how much I grow, friends I give some to, would have to buy less of that in the supermarket. And if you do the same, and everybody does the same, the import of these stuff could be reduced. Might be a drop on a hot plate, but it's something rather than nothing, as opposed to having our money leaving the country for things that we probably could do ourselves, to limit it not only from an economic point of view, but limit it also from a point of view that the way the global warming and the way the world is heading, food is going to become more expensive, food is going to become scarce, and you need to think seriously about doing something about it. And we definitely have the ability to make our backyard gardens something that's productive. And if we all do that, we could cut down on our bills for at least vegetables substantially. So the World Eco-Agriculture Summit in China was meant for that purpose, is to have a dialogue on how to achieve actionable results and practical solutions to develop a more sustainable and just approach to agriculture and to ensure food security globally. That's in a nutshell my preliminary remarks today. Thank you very much for listening.
First, allow me, on behalf of the United St. Martin's Party and my cabinet, to extend our deepest condolences to the family of Neville York, a great St. Martiner, a cultural ambassador. His knowledge, his presence, his contribution and dedication to St. Martin and his gentlemanship ways will be greatly missed. I would like to start this morning also in sharing some positive news on new and expanding airlift to St. Martin and what this would mean to the economy should everything pan out as planned. After negotiations in Brussels by St. Martin Tourist Bureau, TUI Fly Belgium will operate a weekly flight between Brussels and St. Martin this winter season. This is the first ever non-stop flight from Brussels to St. Martin. Brussels-St. Martin operation will start on October 30th this year, and for now has been planned for the entire winter season until April 9, 2018. It will be a once-a-week flight on Monday and will be executed in combination with TUI destination Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. TUI Fly Belgium will also use a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner on the new route. Similar to the type of aircraft TUI Fly Netherlands uses for its flights from Amsterdam to St. Martin. The new Brussels-St. Martin route is not only attractive for Belgians, but also provides an alternative for Dutch travelers in southern Netherlands. Seabourn Airline, in collaboration with St. Martin Tourist Bureau, have launched daily flights out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, with the main purpose of driving prices lower on that critical route ahead of the busy Caribbean travel period normally experienced between June and August. These daily flights by Seabourn commences on May 5th and will run until next year. Prior to this, Seabourn uses the service St. Martin 4 times a week in high season and 3 times a week in low season. From here on, it will be 7 flights in low season, which will drive more Caribbean traffic to the destination. Another win, not just for tourism itself, but for our locals as well. We have secured an agreement with Seabourn Airlines that will result in a 20% discounted fare for all locals of St. Martin. They can book online or on phone and present a valid ID or a Dutch passport upon departure. Seabourn will also, as part of our incentive deal, offer free travel vouchers when necessary for government to travel on business, saving the government and thus taxpayers potential thousands of guilders a year as well. Seabourn will also be working with STB on servicing critical routes that have since been dropped by LIAT, such as St. Croix and St. Thomas. I'm also pleased to announce the commencement of service of Sunrise Airways out of Haiti, which also connects St. Martin and Cuba due to the airline's strong presence in the country. Sunrise offers service to Havana and Santiago de Cuba and thus connects St. Martin to that destination. Sunrise will begin service to St. Martin at the end of June, twice a week, with the goal of servicing the destination 4 times a week, should load factors meet its expectations. Sunrise Airways was founded in 2010 and provides commercial charter flights. In mid-2015, servicing to Santo Domingo, and thus paved the way for further expansion, including Cuba. In line with this expansion of its route network, Sunrise Airway has augmented its fleet in 2016, adding new 46 seats ATR, 42 320 aircraft to serve alongside its pre-existing cadre of a 19-seat Jetstream. Its international destinations include Bahamas, Orlando, Turks and Caicos, Cuba, Jamaica, and the Dominican Republic. Lastly, the ministry, more specifically, the St. Martin Tourist Bureau, will meet the Southwest Airlines in October in Dallas to finalize discussions on St. Martin-Fort Lauderdale route, which is supposed to commence in 2018. We have put a lot of time and effort into securing this new airlift and take advantage of Southwest expansion into the Caribbean. Should the current negotiations taking place with airlines come to fruition as expected, we can expect additional traffic up to 63,000 increased stayover passengers per year, which would be an increase of approximately 12% in stayover passengers compared to year's average. Based on an average visitor expenditure of $120 per day and approximately 8 nights average length of stay. The SMART trade show will be held next month, and government is enthusiastic about this event, which is extremely important for securing new business for this destination. The Association des Hoteliers de Saint Martin Tourist Office, in conjunction with STB and the St. Martin Hotel Trade Association, are expecting numerous operators, travel agents, travel writers, and event planners from the U.S., Canada, Europe, Latin America to return to the island for this important event. The trade show provides a unique opportunity for local and regional hoteliers and the activity providers to present their tourism product network and negotiate prospective business opportunities. During the trade show, travel partners and wholesalers, as well as hotel and excursion operators, come together for one-on-one discussions on potential business ventures. This event provides a day and a half of pre-scheduled appointment sessions and activities where these buyers can meet and conduct business with suppliers in the tourism industry. In previous years, SMART featured suppliers from Anguilla, Antigua, Barbados, Bermuda, British Virgin Islands, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Montserrat, to name a few, including St. Martin and St. Martin. SMART kicks off this summer, June 14th, 2017. Finally, I would like to congratulate the St. Martin Carnival Development Foundation for a job well done in organizing and executing Carnival 2017. St. Martin Carnival continues to grow, and the consequence of this growth is greater economic impact for our island. As you know, of all Carnival subsidies comes from the TIAT ministry, with the intention that STDF dedicates the majority of these funds to marketing the festival, regional and international. Judging by hotel bookings alone through this month of April, Carnival continues to do very well for the economy of St. Martin, with stayover visitors, most of whom stay for a week or more on St. Martin. This leads to positive economic spin-off for hotels, restaurants, car rentals, and Carnival Village and events. Social media and online activity also increased this year, with the SCDF utilizing its very popular Facebook page with more than 40,000 likes, Snapchat, Instagram, and its website to engage potential visitors from across the world who know now about St. Martin's Carnival. The SCDF should also be commended for working with two of the island's largest tour operators, Nexus Tours and Bella Tours, in executing Carnival Village tours for our visitors and exporting this part of our culture. Lastly, I would like to thank and congratulate the board and volunteers of SCDF for their tireless work they have put into Carnival on an annual basis. We all enjoy Carnival and sometimes underestimate the magnitude of work that it takes to pull off such an event. The Ministry of TIAT, and in particular the St. Martin Tourist Bureau, will continue to work with SCDF to facilitate further growth of St. Martin's annual event.
Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport and Government of St. Martin has been dealt a severe blow, as was mentioned by my colleague just before me. And we would like to, in that respect, extend to the family, friends, and colleagues of the late Mr. Neville York, who served as the Department Head of Culture, our deepest and sincerest condolences. Our heart goes out to all of you who are mourning at this time, and we do our best to accept this terrible loss. Yesterday, upon learning about his untimely death, the ministry was called together. We held an impromptu gathering, after which most of the offices remained closed, as many were unable to function yesterday. Hopefully today, many are back out, but I do ask the general public to bear in mind that this has been a tremendous blow to the ministry, and to have a bit of patience with us as we regroup. Death is never easy to accept for the living, and especially when it is sudden and unexpected. We will all allow the memories to live on and to sustain us. Mr. York was a walking cultural archive who fought for and shared his knowledge for the cultural development of St. Martin, as well as his artistic drive and excellence, especially with the steel pan. As head of the Department of Culture, he will be definitely missed throughout the ministry. He was the brainchild of the decade of revitalization of our natural and cultural heritage, as well as many other ideas and aspects which were being worked on. And we will strive as a ministry to achieve all these goals that he held dear to his heart. We will do our best to achieve them in his memory. My prayers are with the family and friends, colleagues. May God guide you and give you strength during these trying times, and may his soul rest in peace. As a cultural icon in our community, as well as in the region and in international circles, he will be missed as well. His students, who he's taught for decades, will also miss him terribly, I'm sure, and will carry on his musical legacy. I'm sure someone and some others within the community will pick up where he left off, and we're banking on that in terms of maintaining that strength within our culture. The ministry is currently collaborating with family to ensure that he has a fitting homegoing ceremony. In researching the scope and sequence of his work and influence, it is already clear that this will not be your regular homegoing ceremony. So stay tuned, and we will be letting the public know how we will be collaborating with the family, especially in terms of the wake as well as the homegoing ceremony. We will definitely miss Neville. In news from the Division Public Education, in a collaborative effort between the Student Support Services and the Public Education Division, Mrs. Davis Holiday, along with Mrs. Service Mussington, both department heads, together with the head of the vocational school, Mrs. Bourne Gums, and another colleague, left yesterday to Jamaica for the 3rd Annual International Conference on Technical Vocational Education and Training, TVET. The theme of this conference is Technical Vocational Education and Training for Sustainable Regional Development. The objective of this conference is to create an advocacy platform for integrating sustainable principles in regional TVET policies, practices, and programs. The purpose, with regards to the ministry, is to develop and present a suitable program for approval that can fit within the policy options for the highest standards for vocational education that is currently being developed within the ministry. So I wish that delegation much strength and success, even under the circumstances as they continue with that educational endeavor. As many know, the exams have started for the secondary schools this week, and I would like to take the time to wish them much success. All students, teachers, parents who have invested the time and effort to making sure that our students are ready for these weeks of exams. Several of them will continue throughout June in preparation for tertiary education as well as entrance into the work field. You've put in years of work, and now is the time for you to prove yourselves. I wish you much success in that. The process took you several years. So we know that the laatste loodje tellen het zwaarst, as they say in Dutch, or the last stretch of the race is always the toughest and weighs the heaviest. So do not lose focus now. Continue to focus. Push harder than you've ever pushed yourself. Don't give up. But of course, get the necessary rest and nourishment you need to be able to function properly. Just today, I saw some notices going out that there was no school due to the rains yesterday. I think people should be very cognizant of the damage that they can do with sending out erroneous messages. They actually stated that I had said that. Any official messages will come through DCOM, and I will then copy-paste them to my page if necessary. So many who knew that took it for the hoax that it was, but imagine if students who had exams this morning had taken that message as serious and missed their exams. You know, the repercussions could be very weighty for them. So please, in making your jokes and pranks, know the time and place for those.